Today we're learning how to easily add in-app subscriptions and purchases to our React Native application using RevenueCat. Hey everyone, what's up? This is Simon from galaxies.dev, and today I'm walking you through the steps of setting up in-app purchases and subscriptions for your React Native application using RevenueCat. So this video is sponsored by RevenueCat, and I think RevenueCat was like one of the first services that I actually noticed for in-app subscriptions and purchases years ago, which means they have a long tradition of setting up in-app purchases and managing this for tons of different languages and frameworks like Flutter, React Native, and everything you can imagine. In this video, I will walk you through the steps of how you need to configure your RevenueCat app with your actual native iOS and Android app, how to add products to Google Play and the App Store Connect store, how we can then use them in RevenueCat to create different offerings and product groups, and then also write some code as a provider for our application to load all the data from RevenueCat, display it, and actually purchase it, and afterwards grant the user access to features of our application. If you want to check out the full code example, link below this video, also to a written tutorial on galaxies.dev, where also the GitHub repository is linked, so go check that out, and of course check out RevenueCat.com, which is sponsoring this video. Alright, so let's get started with Revenue and our React Native application. So you can check it out, RevenueCat.com, in-app subscriptions made easy, and it really is that easy. And the pricing is also pretty easy to figure out because you can just get started for free up to 10,000, what is MTR? Monthly tracked revenue, so not MRR, MTR. But anyway, that's a lot of money. So I guess at 10K MTR, you can afford at least $8 per month or $12 per month per $1,000 to get advanced functionalities. But we're gonna just use the free functionality in this video, and it's gonna be enough because with RevenueCat, we have the ability to use tons of different SDKs. So even if you're a native developer with Swift or Kotlin, you could use it, but especially I think this shines for cross-platform applications where you can unify all the stuff for in-app purchases. Flutter, React Native, Cordova, Unity, all of them work great. And the cool thing is that we have a backend that tracks all of our stuff, that is like the single source of truth for all the transactions and the status of the users of our application. Many more functionalities, but let's see how we can actually use this. So within my RevenueCat account, I created a new project. So I call this My Cool App. And within this app, I need to first of all set up the actual elements that users can purchase. And I also need to add the apps. So adding the apps is really a straightforward process. You just select your app, you enter the name and the bundle ID, and then you usually need something like an app-specific shared secret. So they have great guides on creating this for the Google Play Store. You actually need some Play Service credentials, which in fact takes a bit longer. So this is, but it's a great in-depth guide. Just follow along the steps. It's pretty easy to do. And for Apple, creating the app-specific shared secret is actually just a few steps, and then you got this. So this sounds probably more intimidating than it actually is in reality. So once you get your two applications set up, you can also set up the items that users can purchase in your application. This is always done at either App Store Connect for Apple apps or at the Play console for Android applications. And this is pretty much all the time the same process. You go into your applications, let's make this a bit bigger. For example, here I got my test app on App Store Connect, which I configured with a few in-app purchases. So we got 5 magic cookies, which is a consumable, which means you can consume this multiple times. It's like purchasing gems in your favorite game. Then we also have non-consumables like an epic wand or magic boots. These are things you purchase once and then you just have them forever. This is like probably, I mean, let's say you can't trade the epic wand or the magic boots, you just keep them forever in that game. So I've set them up with some product IDs, and we're gonna come back to these product IDs in a second. I also did the same for subscriptions. So I do have a Cats Premium subscription, either a monthly price or an annual price, using this, like I call this RevenueCat app, so RCA. Then I followed this up with the pricing and the duration in here. Or for my in-app purchases, I just had whether it's a consume or whatever kind of thing this actually is. Now, I did the same thing for my Google Play Console configuration of the app. And you see I used just the same product IDs in here. You can find this not under testing, not here, not there. You can find this under products, in-app products. So here are the elements that I added to Google Play. Again, just basic configuration and adding these, and also subscriptions work just the same. So once you've set up all these things in App Store Connect and Google Play, you can head over to your app. Now it gets really interesting. As in my application, where are my things? So here we go. I need to set up products, offerings, entitlements, and optionally experiments. So what is this? Now, a product is just the thing that I configured in Google Play or App Store Connect. So can we, well, probably let's do it like this. So you see, I added all of them in here. I can just go to new, then I can select the apps that I previously configured, and then I can actually import products from App Store Connect. This is new. I think this is actually new. This is like what people requested all the time. So don't be like Simon, don't set them up manually. I just set them up manually, which by the way also worked great, but it looks like I can also do this from here. So that's pretty cool. Looks like we just need the P8 key file from App Store Connect, but that should be pretty easy to set up. So that is a very, very nice addition. I really like that one. Nonetheless, you in the end gonna have a list of products that your users could purchase in the application. Don't worry about the entitlement yet. We have all the identifiers, and we have both the stuff for iOS and Android in here. Now, a product is just a thing somebody could purchase. The cool thing is that we can now define entitlements. And entitlements, I don't actually know the translation for entitlement. I should probably look this up. But basically, this gives you access to something. So for example, we have the Pro Features entitlement, or we have the Magic Boots entitlement. And you can get this entitlement in different ways. You can have different products that grant you this entitlement. So here we have all the products that give me the Pro access. Here we do have the products associated with this entitlement that give me the boots and also the Epic one. So everything is now configured under these entitlements, and RevenueCat manages all the entitlements for us, which is pretty cool. And to actually make this available to the users, we're gonna have to define offerings. We can also just list out all the products if we wanted to, but offerings are a great way to test the things in your application. So here I have a default offering, which includes all the items we've set up before. Now, you could also have like a marketing offering, and then you can later say, hey, I want to send this offering to specific users of my application, and you can even run experiments, which is a great feature here, to show different users like different pricing options, or just trying to figure out what works best for your app. So this is my configuration, and under API keys, I would find the important API keys. And now let's take a look at some code. We're gonna use the in-app purchase plugin, and we're gonna actually not use the Expo in-app purchases, but what they recommend is the React Native purchases from RevenueCat. Here's also a great tutorial from Josh, Epic guide on getting started, covering the basics. He actually follows a little bit different setup, but we're gonna talk about that later. Nonetheless, we're gonna use that plugin and we're gonna write some code. So what I did is I prepared a little application here. I call this the Cat app, and I made a few things to this. So I created the app using the Expo TypeScript template, and I installed the React Native Purchases plugin. I installed a few packages for routing and navigation, and then I made a pre-build. So this part is important. Usually with Expo, we would use the Expo Go client, but this is not possible with the in-app purchases plugin. You're gonna either have to do what Josh did, and that is to create a pre-build using EAS, or what's also called a development build. So you can run EAS build with your development profile and a specific platform, or for iOS, and then later use your custom dev client of the Expo Go app on a device to run that code, which is a nice way. However, I preferred running an Expo pre-build, which then creates an Android and iOS folder in here. From there, I just launched Xcode and connected it to my device. I deployed this, which will bring up the Metro bundler, and we're gonna see we have live reload of our application. So let's just add a little text in here. So if I hit save, we see I still get live reload. So Expo pre-build is just basically the same. It's not really hard to run our application. Now, what do we got in here? We have a component, we have a provider, and we have a page. Nothing too fancy. So let me explain what's going on, and then let's write some code together. So our app is wrapped in the RevenueCat provider. And this is going to be important because I want to load all the products up front and only display the app when we actually got all the RevenueCat stuff figured out. On my homepage, I got a little restore button up here, and below I want to try and show all the packages of the RevenueCat API that are returned to me. So right now I don't display anything because we haven't implemented that yet. And below that I do have a little user card, which we already see here. So the user card is simply there to display the currently purchased cookies and items and pro features, but the user does not have anything right now. So let's see how we can actually implement that data from RevenueCat. First of all, in my provider, I'm gonna supply the API keys. So again, I use them from the page down here. So here are the API keys. Then I define a little interface so we can easily access purchase package, restore permissions, the user, and the actual packages that a user could purchase. And also a user state, which will be managed here in our RevenueCat provider. Then I also created a hook like use RevenueCat to make this easily available in our pages. And now the actual implementation of the RevenueCat provider is what's important. So if you want to get started, what you want to do is you first of all have to define a little initialize function. So let's call this const init. This is going to be an async function. Okay, great setup. And we're going to call init right here. So if the platform operating system is equal to iOS, we're going to have to configure this with the iOS key. And if it's equal to Android, or let's just say else, I don't want to target the web here right now, we're going to have to configure it for Android. And therefore, we get started by using the actual purchases package, and we call configure with the API keys for Apple. Actually, we need to supply this as an object and then say API key. Please use my API keys dot Apple. I don't want to supply anything else. This is really the only thing we need. And guess what? For Android, we're just gonna put it in and say use the what did I call them? Did I call them Android? Oh, I called them Google, of course. Yeah, the Google key. Good. So this is our initial configuration. Now I'm using a variable state here is ready, which is basically checked before this returns. So if this is not ready, I would return an empty fragment, which basically means my app is not yet displayed. And otherwise, I would return the actual context provider here. So after configuring this, I will already set is ready to true because the app is basically ready. And actually, I need to change this. So I had this to true, false. Now we do have the logic to make this work correctly. Okay. While debugging, you could also say something like set debug logs enabled. Is this actually? No, you usually say set log level now. Set log level, and you could set this to log level .debug, and then you would get a ton of debug messages in your console or wherever you debug the application. Good. Now the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna load the offerings. And this function is not yet implemented, but you're gonna see this is actually pretty easy. Oh, Copilot already gives me the code for this. Seems like all the people of the world are using this. So here we go. We get back an offerings object, and from that offerings object, we can grab the current offerings. Now, this comes back to different marketing experiments. So if you want to have different offerings, you could then select from one of the offerings. Maybe you have a specific promotion or something going on. So in that case, you would get those. This is interesting. Yeah, because I have figured out, I've set up everything up front. That is good news. So if you're at this point, you should see all the offerings coming in right here. Can we zoom in? From RevenueCat. So here's the default offering. I could have another one. there are the different packages. Here's actually the array with the available packages. And that's what I'm setting here, current offerings, available packages. So each of those packages is an item that a user could purchase, and every item of our package is, maybe let's just log one of them. Let's just log the first. Can I just console log available packages, the index 0 dot product? Let's see. There we go. Let's see, where's my metro? Here's metro. So here's the offering: currency code euro, description, get access to all, discounts, identifier. So all the information about one specific product, or as we now call it, package, is available. And by setting this to my state here, my homepage has access to it, and therefore it gets displayed in the scroll view, and I could already check it out. However, I think I actually haven't implemented the purchase functionality, so let's do this now. To purchase something, we get the purchase package. So you can check out the TypeScript interfaces. This is done really well. So it's actually really easy to set this up. So try to purchase a package, simply call purchases.purchase package and pass in the pack. Boom, that's actually it. I think the result here is not too interesting, or let's see. So if the user cancels this, we would get into a little catch block, and then we could log this out, or say alert e something. I actually don't know if there's a message, but we're gonna try here. So after the user has purchased a package, and that means we're getting to this line, we can update the user state with whatever he purchased. So if he or she, of course, if the user purchased a pack of consumable stuff, so if pack, so let's say if pack.product.identifier is equal to, what is my consumable? Let's see, so we can just go back, check the products, and this was the RC whatever. Yeah, this is the identifier I use. So if it's equal to this one, we're gonna immediately set my user state, and we're gonna set it to everything that's previously in user, and setting the cookies to user.cookies plus, let's say plus equals 5. Okay, so this immediately updates my state. Now, this is of course just the state here in the app. If you're really having a game where user can purchase gems or anything, you would of course have to send that information of the user state to your server. But this would be the point where you could do this. So on top of that, we of course have additional things like the wand, the boots, or the pro features. And those grant us specific entitlements. The consumable actually does not give us any entitlement, but those things do. And to keep up with all the consumables a user could have, we can add a listener. So let's add this to our use effect. So we're gonna add purchases.add customer info update listener. This will give us a customer info object. So of the type customer information, and we're gonna pass this to my function that I already prepared, update customer information with that info. So let's put a login here, customer info updated, and then we're gonna hopefully see this at some point, at least when we buy something. And in here, this is the place where you grant your users access to the different entitlements that a user might have. So Copilot is recommending some code. I'm actually not trusting it today. I want to use my own code. So in here, you would basically just check for the different entitlements. So the customer info entitlements might have Epic Wand active. In that case, I would push this to my current user state. Could also be the magic boots, could also be the pro features, and I would simply set them to my state here. And again, if you want to persist this, you could also reflect this on your backend. Now, with all of that in place, we should actually be ready for giving our application a test on my real device. It's important that this stuff usually doesn't work in the simulator, so you have to try this on a real device. Now, here are all the things. Why are you disconnected from Metro? Maybe you should just run this again. Oh, probably because I disconnected. Can I do the refresh stuff here as well? Yeah, let's give it a try. Loading Metro. I think we're connected again. So let's try to access the premium features up here first, which would give me access to all the pro features. And keep in mind, all of this is coming from RevenueCat and then from iOS App Store Connect platform. So I'm gonna try to subscribe. I actually never remember my sandbox password. I hope it's this one. So let's try to sign in. Yes, done. And now watch the pro feature flag here. This should eventually turn to true once the successful transaction is successful. And also the customer object should most likely be updated. Yeah, actually coming here. So purchase was successful. Okay. Pro feature is true. And here is my updated customer information. Now, this happens because we've been subscribed to the listener up here. So our add customer info update listener. And now we have this. Let's also try to purchase some cookies. So those will only exist once. They should still be added to my cookies, of course. Let's put this up here. Yes, I'm gonna purchase. Why do I have to do this once again? I really don't want to. Anyway, yep. I purchased the cookies, and yes, this usually takes some time in the debugging state here. But I've noticed in real applications, those purchases also usually take time. So here we go, 5 cookies, and I have magic boots. I think I purchased them before, and pro features are true. And of course, I could now also reload this application. And because we have the entitlements in RevenueCat stored, my application would have pro features enabled, and I could give the user access to whatever kind of pro features I would have set up. So this is really a super easy way to implement cross-platform transactions, in-app purchases or subscriptions. And we can actually now check out my project. So I'm using sandbox data. Let's try if I refresh this and click sandbox data. Yes, I see a customer a minute ago. Thanks for my device disappearing. Well, it gives us more space for this. So here are the entitlements of this customer using the app, using the version, total amount spent, pro features, magic boots, and products. Oh, 3 times actually that I got this. Here we got the current offerings that I could also now change. So we got tons of more information here in RevenueCat. Under charts, I could also track my subscription growth. So I don't want to upgrade right now. I wanted to go here because this is how it could look like for your application, and you could easily track your subscriptions movement, the refund rate, the annual run rate, the monthly recurring revenue, and all these cool statistics for your app. And again, have a single place of truth where all your subscriptions are managed and people get the entitlements for your project. So hope this was helpful. Also, definitely check out Josh's tutorial if you want to run a different kind of build. So my Expo pre-build was very easy for me to set up. If you prefer an EAS build, of course, you can do that as well. All the links are below this tutorial, so go check it out. Alright, and that's it for today's tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this quick walkthrough of how you can integrate RevenueCat into your React Native application, and I think it's a great way to combine iOS and Android into one single place of truth, because you're gonna have to run into this problem anyway if you're using in-app purchases and subscriptions on different platforms. So using a service that unifies this and acts as one API for you to talk to with your React Native application is just a great idea. And with RevenueCat, you get tons of additional features like the entitlements, the offerings that you can try, the experiments, and of course also all the metrics that you get from RevenueCat. So thanks again RevenueCat for sponsoring this video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you got any questions about it, please drop them in the comments. I know the people and the developers from RevenueCat are very active and will definitely answer all your questions. And also, if you want the code, check out links below the video to galaxies.dev. So I will catch you in the next video. Build some epic stuff with RevenueCat and React Native. Hopefully we will become a millionaire, but still stay subscribed. And of course, happy coding, Simon.